Did it start recording? There we go. All right.
Right. Here we go. Hello, everyone. It's Friday. It's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you on this rainy Friday. It's getting ready to come down. For those of you that join us on the regular, thank you for joining us. And for those of you that are new to what we do, welcome, welcome, welcome. Nadeem, how's it going, sir?
Oh, it's going great. Is it raining over there, really?
Yeah, actually, it's pouring.
Oh, over here it's clear. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's came down. Houston is weird like that, so.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you saw that, but I sent that email about moving existing ERP systems into the cloud,
Yeah.
and this conversation came up. We were talking with this customer, and a lot of people don't realize this. If you have an ERP system, and there's so many different systems, like I've seen Global Shop, I've seen Profit 21, I've seen ACPAC. If you use their cloud system, uh, it is cost prohibitive. I mean, you're talking about, 25, $30,000 a month. It's like they
Easy.
almost don't want your business. So we were talking with this customer, and he was like, "Well, I've got these profit systems, and my in-house guys are moving these servers, and because the cloud system is so expensive." And we were like, "Well, no, you don't have to use these manufacturers, these developers' cloud system. We can set up a server in the cloud. So from the developer's point of view, it's just another on-prem server, but it's not on-prem; it's in the cloud." So you don't get hit by that huge licensing fee, but yet you get the benefit of the cloud. So it's the best of both worlds, right? You get the low cost for licensing, but yet your server is sitting in the cloud. And we've done this for a lot of customers. I really never thought about it that way, that it was something that people would need. Um, and until, we were having this conversation, and this customer was like, "Well, I can't do that because I can't really afford it." And it's like, "Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Why can't you afford it?" And the reason he couldn't afford it was because it was, he was thinking about the cloud offering from these developers, which is just they've priced themselves out of the market. And I don't know why they do it this way. I think it's more because they've built the infrastructure so robust so they can support some of the large enterprises. And
Yeah.
when they bring that system to the small business, like 5, 10, 50 user businesses, they just can't afford them.
Yeah.
So we have a solution to that, right? So we build these cloud servers, and then we deploy your licenses that you would normally deploy on your in-house servers. We just deploy it in the cloud, and everything works, everything is good, and everybody's happy. And it's not like we're doing anything wrong or anything bad. We work with a lot of developers, and they're happy that we do this for customers, because this is a customer that they would not have been able to support if we didn't have this solution. And we get a lot of referrals from other partners who sell and support these ERP systems, and they come to us and say, "Hey, I have a customer, like I got a lead, this was a few months ago, that, hey, I have a customer where they need, ACPAC running in the cloud, but they can't afford the ACPAC license from Sage for the cloud version. So can you do what you did with so and so customer?" And we did, and it's a whole different way of thinking, and it's just thinking outside the box. And I think it's a win-win-win situation, because the vendor ends up selling the license, the customer ends up getting a cloud system that they want, and we end up supporting it, and everybody's happy. So
Right.
I think at the end of the day, when you're thinking about your overall technology, sometimes you have to think outside of the box,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's not even clear where or what the box is. But I think that's just one of the things that I wanted to put out there. I want to let everybody know that you may have seen a lot of cloud systems, ERP systems, that are just priced outside of your budget range. But there are other options. There are other ways, to skin the cat, so to speak.
So excuse me. So with ERP systems, um, and you kind of talked about this, for larger um, businesses, and they, different verticals. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wow, that's necessary. But is there a solution for, let's say the guy that has a construction supply company, but only has 10 users, and doesn't want, is this a solution for that? Where, I only have 10 users. I know most ERP systems, like you mentioned, Sage, there's a few others where they need at least 30 or more. If you're smaller, what kind of solution is there? I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
coughing.
Oh, no problem. So yeah, so there are a lot of other systems available for some of them for smaller companies. Like we have some customers who only have like 3 or 4 users that work in the office. And, everybody else works in the warehouse and they don't work with computers. So it's only like 3 or 4 people actually using computers in the office, and they have ERP systems in place. So
Mm.
you can definitely go with, and I think one of them is Profit 21 from
Oh,
Epicor.
really?
Yeah, they support, you can get a 5 user license and have just 3 users on it, or just 5 users. So you can start real small on some of these ERP systems. You don't have to go with the big, like the big systems that people normally think when they talk about, like from Oracle or something like that. Those are huge systems.
I didn't even know that. I remember because I was working for a company that sold ERP systems. I didn't know Epicor made systems for smaller establishments. I remember they were like the granddaddy, and they were selling these massive solutions. So I didn't even know Profit 21 was from them, because I remember, man,
Yeah. So
Epicor was
Is
ridiculous.
Epicor has really grown like by leaps and bounds, and they've done some acquisitions. I mean, they're all over the place. I mean, they're in so many different industries. I don't think you can count on one hand.
That's true.
So
That's
they
true.
have some of these large systems, but I think what happened is they made a lot of money on those large systems, and then they went on a buying spree and they bought all these smaller ERP systems and other providers for smaller companies, and they just kind of brought it into the mix. So at this point, I mean, they're into manufacturing, into supply chain, into marketing. I mean, they're into so many different things. But yeah, the Profit 21 system, that's you can start with just a handful of users and then grow from there. And it's a good vertical fit for certain industries. I know some of our customers use Profit 21. I think in the supply chain they use Profit 21.
Hmm.
Um, some of the companies use them for marketing, and these are very specific industry vertical marketing things, not just general marketing. It's like they integrate with other uh, ERP systems for specific industries. Like I know one of them is they integrate with a system from it's called Trax, Napa Trax. So they integrate with Napa Trax. So Napa Track is your basically shop management system, but the Epicor product kind of pulls data out of this system and does marketing to your prospects that are in this system. So it's a nice add-on. I mean, it works well. Um, but yeah, so if you try to go, with Profit 21 in the cloud, it's priced outside of the market. A lot of companies can't afford it. So what we do is basically we'll spin up a server in the cloud, and we will install their local on-prem licenses in this server in the cloud, which we've done for Profit 21, which works really well. We've done that for Global Shop. Now, Global Shop uh, is another niche ERP provider, and they didn't even know what we did was possible. So
Mm.
they're actually based out of the Woodlands, and we had a nice talk with them, and their developers, their support guys did not know that what we did was possible. And it's like, at the end of the day, whether a server is in the cloud or on-prem, it doesn't matter. If it's running Windows, it's running Windows. It's just a Windows server.
Right.
And they were just thinking inside that box, and they couldn't get outside the box. So we talked with them. I mean, we struck a pretty good deal where they can, if when they run into smaller customers who can't afford their cloud licensing, then they refer them to us, and we can take it and run it, and it's a win situation for them, because now these smaller customers who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford their system can now afford the system, and it's still in the cloud. We support it, so we make money supporting these systems and setting up these systems. Global Shop makes money because they're selling the licenses, and the customer makes money because now they're able to more efficiently run their business. So everybody wins.
So now I thought Microsoft doesn't have ERPs. I thought they did.
Yeah. Dynamics AX is their big system, and that's at the Oracle level. I mean, that's a huge system. That's huge. I mean, it's like, oh man, you can dig into that system for months, and you won't come to a dead end.
Got it.
I've seen people where they tried to implement Dynamics AX on their own, and some of the people working in their finance departments, it got so overwhelming that I remember this one lady who got into the habit of biting her fingernails. She was so anxious, and she was she was a financial person. So I would, and the way I found out is there were like these little band-aids wrapped around her fingernails, and I was like, hey, what's going on over there? She was like, oh, this system, this migration is just making me so anxious. I got into this habit. Now I have to wear these band-aids on my fingernails. I was like, oh, at that point, I think I would have just quit.
At that point, when I got to bite down my fingernails, then
and it was the situation was, she worked for a company that got bought out by a large public company, which then wanted to implement this system. So she was under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go from a small shop and you become part of a big public company, man, the stress can really get to you.
Poor baby. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Wow.
But no, so there are solutions out there. Companies like us can cloudify existing traditional apps. So if you have some systems out there, always reach out to your provider, to your MSP or IT provider, because they may have some workarounds as far as licensing goes, and things like that. And this is not anything against the law. I mean, it's all above board. It's all legal. It's just how you create these virtual systems and how you partition them out, and all of that. So at the end of the day, I think it's a great way to build out systems for smaller companies. Even though we are kind of getting out of that space for the very small, like 5 to 10 user. We don't really do much in that space.
Nope.
We're more 20, 25 minimum. But still, we can still set up these systems for the 5, 10 user companies, and then we can do the knowledge transfer to their own IT people or whoever they use for their IT support, and that way they can still run their business more efficiently, and run a profitable business. The thing about all these ERP systems is just there to track stuff. It just keep everybody accountable and track stuff, and that's all it is. It's something real simple, but when you get to tracking stuff, you can track till the cows come home. So that's the thing.
It's definitely resourceful. So I mean, I know. I mean, especially hardware stores, lumber. Where everywhere where they have to track things by the P's. Deplete inventory. From the cashier all the way down to procurement. It's great, but I just feel, and thank you for clarifying that for the smaller guys that still need something like that. It almost feels like they're at a disadvantage because they can't really get that robust type of reporting.
Yeah, it's like like back in the day, and this is like many years ago, when we were building servers, we were building them in house. and it could get pretty complicated because first you have to have these components and inventory, and then depending on how many servers you're building, how many components you're using, you need to keep track of all that. I mean,
Yeah.
like I remember we used to have shelves of drives, and these are different size drives. We can't just, I mean, if a customer needed a 100 gig drive, we can't just put in a 50 gig drive, and we need to make sure that we have so many on hand of these drives, depending on how which ones are selling. And then there were other issues. Certain parts had warranty issues, so we needed to track that so we can kind of make adjustments and all kinds of things. But the ERP system that helps you, doing all of that.
Yep.
We don't do any of that, by the way. We don't do any hardware build out or custom hardware development or anything like that. We are purely an MSP. But if you are in a business where you need to keep track of, do like assemblies and components and things like that, you definitely need to have some sort of an ERP system in place.
Thank you for clarifying that, because you can't believe how many calls I get. Hey, I need this one monitor. I'm like, we don't do that. We don't sell monitors. But if you can't call us and get a keyboard, so I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is, a lot of times customers will see something I don't know, in the phone book or something, and they'll just think, oh, well, these guys do something with IT, so maybe they can help.
Yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah.
I've talked to people where they wanted like screen replaced on an iPad, or stuff like that, and I'm like, just go to the corner store. I mean, I like to help them out, but it's just not something that we do. Um, uh, but some of the interesting calls that come in are more like, "Hey, I got this call. They claim to be from so and so, and the name happened to be close to our name. Close to PC.Solutions.Net." But there was a this company, and it was kind of like a shady operation up in New York, and it was called something solution. So people always used to get confused with us. So they would get these scam calls, and they would call us and say, hey, you guys are calling me, and we'd be like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
um, but yeah, so as far as ERP systems go, there is definitely another way to get to the cloud with your ERP systems, and save money at the same time. You don't have to pay the exorbitant licensing costs that some of these developers are looking for. So I think with that, we'll cut it short. Mac, what do you think?
I think we've covered it.
Hey, 18 minutes? That's a record, I think.
That's a record for us.
All right, Mac, you have a good one, and everybody be safe out there, and we'll see you next week.
You guys have a good one. Bye.